Morning, good morning. It is Wednesday morning, 8:01 in the AM. I'm first warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week in the mornings, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, and hopefully get your day started off on the right note. I've got my cup of coffee. Hopefully you do too. Let us get out and about and chat, shall we? First and foremost, the top two things that I want you to know about today. What's going on in the world of weather? Well, it's no surprise the heat is on. We've enjoyed these warm temperatures these last couple of days, and that is absolutely once again today going to be a thing. The heat continues to build. We're talking about temperatures getting back into the 90s and perhaps even hotter over the next few days. And then there's the whole idea of temperatures continuing to build to near record heat, perhaps. We're also watching the opportunity for some showers and storms. So let's get right to it and just see what's doing on our tower cam perspective. This morning, we are beginning with a look at that. I see we've got a new camera in this vantage point. Let me tilt this up just a smidge. We've got a new camera here at Disney, and it gives us a shot. This is the first time I've seen this shot, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm just a little excited in like a nerd way. On the left is the Cinderella Castle at the Magic Kingdom. In the center, of course, that's the Contemporary Resort, Bay Lake Tower on the right, and of course, there's not Spaceship Earth. What am I looking for? Space Mountain is what I'm looking for. Super cool shot. The new camera apparently has a bit better zoom than the old camera. So that's awesome. I will be requesting this camera angle quite a bit over the coming days and weeks and months and years. Yeah, Dan, Marie, good morning to you guys. Hope you're doing well. We're looking, here's the whole transition thing, right? It is a good day to look at Space Mountain because, of course, it's May the 4th. We've got a fancy background there. I made that yesterday and sent it to all the Hearst stations around the country. I tried to put a lightsaber and it just didn't translate, so I'm like, light speed. Hyperspace. That's where we're going. We do have a couple of showers and thunder showers in the forecast today, so our out of this world, yuck, 12-hour forecast shows temperatures climbing even a little warmer than yesterday. 89 by 1 o'clock, 91 degrees by 3 o'clock this afternoon. And yeah, about a 30% or so coverage of those showers and those thunder showers. Not too bad at all. You can see on the bottom of the screen, though, by the way, one thing that we've added is this little ticker. Can you even see it? I'm trying it out. Let me know what you think. But what I like about it is that even while we're just chatting, you can get the current temperature in locations and the forecast high. I tried to make it similar to what we do on TV. Can you read it? Does it make any sense, or is it just distracting? You tell me what you think. I want this to be a reflection of all of us, right? And if it's just annoying, then I'll take it out. Shauna, Nancy, Marie, Lisa, good morning. Susie, Sarah, I'll be requesting that, say, 9 p.m. when the fireworks are on. Well, look at that. Some clouds around at 9 p.m. Oh, you want to see the fireworks show? I guess so, right? Like from that vantage point, we should be able to watch the fireworks. But we wouldn't have an audio feed. That's the problem there, right? Oh, well. Frankie, good morning to you, buddy. Jackie says Titusville needs the rain. So where do the rains line up today, right? Let's take a look at Futurecast together, okay? So we know that there's a few afternoon showers and thunder showers, but where do they equate? Okay, here's a look at Futurecast. I'll bring it full screen for you. And obviously this morning we are starting off very nice, very calm, very quiet. Tim says, I like the ticker. Giddy up, buddy. Very cool. Sue likes it. Jana says, cool, I can read it. Okay, that makes me feel good then. Yeah, I like that. All right, through time. Here's 10 a.m., a couple of offshore showers, 11, 12 o'clock, still looking good. Notice by about 3:30, 4 o'clock, we start to popcorn up just a little bit of rain here or there. All right? Not too bad. Dan says, that's a purdy ticker that fits in well. I like that, especially if we miss the details when we first pop on. Very cool. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm feeling better about it. I was like, it could go one of two ways. It could be like distracting. And the thing that I want to make sure is I want to try and I want to serve you as well as I humanly can. So if it's cool, it's cool. And it sounds like you guys and gals like it. Is there anything else you'd like? Like, should I do the beach boating forecast on it? It's completely an evolution of things. I've wanted to do this for a while, and I finally figured out in my brain how I could. Lisa says, it's good, not annoying at all. Gives us immediate information. Yesenia likes it. Oh, I love this. This makes me feel good about things. Valerie, the temps are good. It's the auto caption that gets annoying. I feel like you can turn that off. Nikki says ticker's great. Sweet. Coffee Talk, we're always evolving. I like that. Well, and then also I'll show you, I have to set up. I've got a box set up. That's incorrect, but that's going to be, we're going to have another box like for tracking tropics, or if there's rain, we can track the radar. So I'm trying to make this cool. I'm trying to make Coffee Talk cool. Janice, you serve us well. Thank you, Eric. Well, thank you. Thank you. Kelly, behind the scenes, can confirm he worked really hard on that ticker. Yeah, Kelly, you've seen me work quite a bit on that silly ticker. And everybody likes it, so I'm happy. That makes me feel good. All right. Beverly says, I can read, especially if I turn the phone. All right, perfect. The ticker is top notch, Shauna says. All right, so the ticker stays. Yes. We're high tech. I like it, Susie. All right, but I don't want to distract from the actual Futurecast, okay? All right, can anybody tell I've got this monster zit on my forehead all of a sudden? So much fun. All right, anyway. Here's Futurecast, 4 o'clock this afternoon. Watch what happens through the afternoon, though. We start to see more popcorning of showers and storms out west as we start to see the sea breezes collide. I think that, again, today, it's not going to be a massive opportunity for rain, but I do think that there is going to be the opportunity for rain, all right? So that's one of those things. No big deal. We can handle it. But over the next couple of days, one thing to point out is that while we check in with our muggy meter, and we're sitting in the comfy territory for now, muggy meter is dew point temperatures. We're still in that comfy zone. Over the next couple of days, my friends, we start to graduate into the humid sector on the old muggy meter, okay? So summertime heat and humidity puts us into the humid section, and we are absolutely working in that direction over the next couple of days. I'm not a fan. Here's a look, as a matter of fact, at the muggy meter over the next couple of days. Dew point temperatures are in the upper 60s, but little by little by little. Jessica, Double T was my go-to since '04, but you are by far my favorite meteorologist last year, so you're awesome. Well, thank you. Jessica, I was there in '04. Did you know that? If you watched in '04, who was running that radar? Believe it or not, I was running that radar in '04. Did you know that? Nerd moment. Yeah. I was there in '04. I've jumped to the dark side of the Force. Thank you for the compliment. That is everything to me, Jessica. Thank you. Juan says, signs that rainy season beginning a little earlier than expected. Juan, we talked about that yesterday on the afternoon coffee talk, and I wouldn't be surprised, honest to goodness, I wouldn't be surprised if we fire up that rainy season, that wet season, a little earlier. Jessica says, well, I didn't, but that explains a lot. You're responsible for the early morning on Charlie. I have memories of every minute of Charlie and Francis and Jean. I have memories of every single minute in those processes. Seriously. That Charlie was my first hurricane that I worked in television for. I'd been in the business for a couple of years, but Charlie was the first hurricane that I had worked in the business for. And that storm will always be this this thing. This thing to me. It will always be that, like, I don't want to say the pinnacle because it was my first hurricane, but it will always be that storm system that stands out, All right, so we chatted a little bit about the rainy season and perhaps an early start. So I wanted to check in on Central Florida's rainy season dates. When is the earliest? When is the latest? All of that. And it's kind of interesting when you think about it. Okay? Here we are, May the 4th. We're not there yet. I will preface this. But did you know that the earliest the rainy season has ever started is May the 5th? So it has started this early in the past. What are those signals that we look for, right? Like, that's the big thing. What are the signals that we look for in the wet season? Okay. First thing we look for is cold fronts to stop arriving. Okay. The second thing we look for is those daily sea breeze showers and storms to begin. Those have kind of begun. Now, they're not monstrous, but they're around. And low temperatures and dew points consistently in the upper 60s and lower 70s, okay? So dew point temperature, let's just check. We haven't had a cold front in about a week, but we did have a cold front. Dew point temperatures, upper 60s, lower 70s. We're there. The big question is cold fronts. Do we get any more cold fronts? Because if we get a cold front, it kind of hits the reset button on that calculator. The way that the National Weather Service operates is, it's not like we declare, hey, today is the rainy season start. No, what happens is we watch, and when we say, okay, we haven't had a cold front in like 15 days, all these other things are met, perfect, so now we're in the rainy season. And they're like, what happens is they will declare, like, a month later, they'll say, this X was, like, so say it's today, it's not today, but say it's today. Then maybe June 1st, they're like, we declare that the wet season started on May the 4th. Okay, so that's kind of the way that it works. Notice there's no cold fronts in our vicinity whatsoever. Wider perspective, there are still cold fronts. Now, there are still cold fronts that are going to happen elsewhere, but they cannot make it to us, and that's the big thing. So, do we get any cold fronts? Well, let's just look at the overall weather pattern, okay? So here we are in our weather pattern, looking good. There's a cold front on the top left part of your screen is approaching. Does it make it to us? It doesn't look like it does. It looks like it stays north. If that's the case, we may be on our way. Seriously, we may be on our way to the rainy season. Early model indications were that cold front makes it down to us and dried us out late this week. If you recall, last couple of days, we had chatted about that. A weak front moving in. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. And if that does not happen, yeah. Now, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, is there another front that tries to move in? You can see the temperatures are dropping a little bit. So there may still be a front. That's where we're going to have to watch and see, does it happen, right? Is there cold front action? That's where we're going to have to watch and wait and see. Freya says, always humidity in the greenhouse I work at. Work life in Florida. Well, yeah, the greenhouse for sure. Elizabeth says, hooray, I have you on my TV now. Now a permanent place for the date to stay. Will be perfect. Oh, very cool. Thank you. I'm glad to be there. John says, Charlie was my first major hurricane as well. Yeah. Well, and what's so interesting, okay, I wish, what do they say? If only I'd known then what I know now, right? Like and we've talked about this on Coffee Talk a lot, I've gone back and case studied Charlie using the LRC. And the signal was there. Can you believe that? The signal for Charlie was there. Freya says, had my last child during Hurricane Charlie. Well, look, Alexander, my youngest, was born during Isaias. Didn't make landfall, but the pressure got down enough to pop the baby. Kind of wild, right? Cheryl coming home from Michigan Saturday morning. I hope it's not going to be raining. Saturday morning should be good. Saturday afternoon certainly looks like it could be an afternoon storm setup or so. Elizabeth, you mentioned Curry or Charlie. My earliest moments of hurricanes go back to 1948 in Miami. My sister and I ran outside thinking the storm had stopped. My father freaked out to get us to go back inside, saying in the eye of the storm we needed to stay inside until it passed. That was 73 years ago. That's wild. Hurricanes stick with you, right? Yeah. Janet says too early for the rainy season. Look, if it has already started, it would be a record. But again, the question is going to be right in there. If you recall, we had talked about a dry end of the week. And then, maybe because of a front, that front doesn't look like it's coming. So it's interesting. I'm just curious. Let's do this. We always dive into raw data. So why stop now? Let's take a look at the GFS. And what I want to do is I just want to look at raw. Let's do this. And let's switch that to that. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to look at surface moisture. Yeah, we'll do dew points. Okay, perfect. What I'm doing is I'm just looking for surface moisture. There's a front staying north of... Yeah, see, the dew points on Sunday drop. So remember that all things are tied together. Do you remember on our long-range forecast... I'll pull it up here. On our long-range forecast... For the month of May, I talk about this storm system in the Northeast, okay? Well, if we look at the dew point thing, there is a low right there, okay? Dragging in a ton of dry air to the Northeast. That's that storm system that I'm telling you about. But that low, ironically, looks like it's dragging in some drier air to us. Yeah, dry air continues through Tuesday. Those are lower dew points. And then as that works in, we get super moist again. I just want to continue through here and see. There's a cold front there, but notice how it kind of stops over Texas. It doesn't really progress much. Yeah, so maybe the cold fronts have stopped. But by definition, by the time that this little storm system rolls off the mid-Atlantic Northeast right here, it drops our dew points down, and our dew points are going to be anomalously low. So if we just look here at dew point, again, this is raw GFS. Yeah, I mean, and I know that it's guidance, not gospel. Yeah, I mean, Sunday gets dry in the afternoon, but look at that. Tuesday morning, dew point temperatures are going to drop into the 50s. So that muggy meter is going to be super great. So even though it's going to be hot, like it's important. Okay, so dew points on Tuesday are dropping. So if we look at our 7-day forecast, we're getting into super meteorological nerddom, but roll with me. If you look at the 7-day forecast, even though Tuesday shows high temperatures in the 80s and morning lows in the 60s, the dew points are going to be low. So the muggy meter is going to be very comfortable. So the reason that I'm saying this is that we are not yet to rainy season, right? And interestingly enough, it kind of plays into this October 24th storm system. So what is the October 24th storm system? I highlighted it as being a storm system that during hurricane season, kind of the northeastern United States will have to watch. Let's look and see what the latest GFS is showing in terms of pressure. See where it's showing it moving. And, of course, there's the Florester recycle we need to watch for. All right, so there's this. There's that storm system firing up, rolling off the shoreline. High pressure builds in over New England and the Canadian Maritimes, developing an area of low pressure off the east coast, which then kind of hangs around. And are we picking up on the Florista at all yet? Trying to. Yeah. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. The models are kind of a little all over the place. They're trying. Do you see this though? Do you see this in the Caribbean? Let me reload this. Okay. Follow me here. Okay. I'm not saying that this is going to develop. What is happening here? Let's just look in the Caribbean, and I'm just going to roll through time. What's happening here is that the Florista is trying to be initialized by the models. All right, so there's that little low area around Wednesday, May 11th. It's the remnants of that northeastern storm system. Could be something, could be nothing. But look at what the GFS is all of a sudden trying to do toward the end. Okay, deepening, lowering pressure. I don't think that that's going to happen. If we go back one model run, it's gone. Interestingly enough, though, the model run prior to actually, I think, has a pretty decent handle on the Florista. You see, lowering pressure. That, I think, is more accurate. But the point is that the model's trying to initialize all of these details. The forecast that we put out over 2 months ago now has this weekend a storm system around the northeastern United States, and then by about the 16th, 17th, watching around Florida for tropical activity, okay? I'm only mentioning this because it's all part of our hurricane forecast and really is something to watch. But the models don't key in on this stuff. You have to figure it out. You have to let the models chew the fat and get through the process. And they're not there yet. Models are guidance, not gospel. We talk about this all the time during hurricane season. And certainly this is no exception to that rule. But, yeah. Interesting stuff, isn't it? It's all interesting. Our local weather is interesting. The tropics are interesting. I love how this all plays together, right? So, at any rate, we'll have to watch and see. You know, the models are continuing to show activity this month. And, you know, you can get the full WESH 2 hurricane season forecast. If you look, these are the hot spots that we have outlined on our WESH 2 hurricane season forecast. The number one hotspot of this year, unfortunately, is Florida. The number 2 hotspot is going to be the coastal Carolinas. And then there are areas of interest with lower kind of dynamics, but still something to watch. The northeastern United States, and then back over toward Texas and Louisiana. So those are kind of the main 2 hotspots, and then the other, like the runners up, if you will. All of this, my friends, all of this associated with our WESH 2 2022 hurricane season forecast, which is available free online. You don't need a password. You don't need a credit card. All you need is an interest. Head over to wesh.com/hurricanes, and you can get that information there. Yeah. All right. My first hurricane was Carla. Back then, the GFS was just a G. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So, anyway, very interesting. Carolyn says, do you consider it a bust if the low does not affect the Northeast but is further south? No, because long-range forecasting, do I consider it a bust? Well, no, and here's why. Because when we put that product out for the Northeastern United States, I didn't identify the May cycle as being a part of the tropical recycle, if you will. Seasonal adjustments, Carolyn, certainly play into things, so I didn't highlight that. Whereas the Florista, I did label the May version of the cycle, of the repeat. I did put that in there. Is it a bust? So the difficult thing with long-range forecasting is I don't think I would consider it a bust, because in locations, I'm trying to highlight where if it was tropical, it would impact. I don't think this is going to be tropical, so I don't think that that's going to be a concern there. The storm system that we are expecting, though, is right on time. Is it a little off from where, it would be during hurricane season? Yeah, but, I mean, I don't know. The models have been adjusting and tweaking where they are. That's the thing with long-range forecasting. And Chris Pierce, who is my adjudicator, would you consider it a bust? I don't think I would, because I didn't label this as being a repeat. I've got it on the calendar. I don't know. Chris Pierce, the reason that I like that Chris Pierce does all of the grading for me is because he's less emotionally tied to this than I am, right? So he can just say, yeah, it would be a bust. But I don't know, because if it's not getting a name, like, that's where it's like, if it gets a name, does it, the cycle is showing energy there, and the energy's there. Maybe it's a few hundred miles off, but, yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. Cheryl says, like that Wesh group photo I saw on Facebook yesterday. Yeah, we're celebrating 15 years of being Central Florida's most accurate, which is pretty wild. Becca says, Eric, I'm so glad I found you. I'm so glad that you found the LRC, because I'm a planner, so I like to know what is coming and when it will come. Elizabeth, good morning to you. Chris says, emotionally, I'm dead. I don't think that it's a bust at all. First off, we don't know where it is going. Guidance, not gospel. And second off, yeah, when storms are named, that's kind of my benchmark, is when storms get named. That's how I follow things. When storms get named, just areas of low pressure. That's different. And if you, wrong computer, that was Prism. And that's why, like, when we look at 2021, here's all of the storms versus our forecast. I'm not showing just random lows. I'm showing storms and storm names. So, yeah. Nikki, can you please explain La Nina versus El Nino and how that affects hurricanes? Sure. So, simply put, when you get a La Nina, you typically find a more active pattern. When you get an El Nino, it typically subdues things just a little bit. So that plays into a season as a whole. Yeah, it absolutely does. I just cannot believe we're already talking hurricane season. I feel like we just got out of hurricane season, Elizabeth, are storm chasers different than meteorologists? Some storm chasers could be meteorologists. Some storm chasers could be meteorological students. Some storm chasers could be just folks that get out there uneducated. Yeah. Kelly says, I wouldn't consider it a bust. Local weather still calling for rain this Friday and Saturday here in New York. At the end of the day, we just have to see how it all plays out. And that's the one thing. Do you remember yesterday I was talking about my friend meteorologist in who follows the LRC? And how I he's younger into this process than I am. And I just have to keep telling him, like, wait and see how it plays out. He watched Coffee Talk, and literally I got a text message from him that said, I feel heard on Coffee Talk, or what did it say? Hold on. I want to quote this exactly because it's pretty funny. Oh, I feel seen on Coffee Talk. And I'm like, bah! And at any rate, so, the one thing that I keep telling him is, it's like, wait and see how this plays out. Wait and see how things go. And the other thing is, the LRC just kind of shows the pathways of where it wants to go. Where does it peak out its energy? Things like that. So it, like everything else in science, there's no easy explanation, right? There's simplification, but that doesn't mean that that's the full report, if you will, right? So anyway, Chris says, actually, Eric's forecasts are terrible, but he pays me off in bagels. Yeah, there you go. Storm chasers are just crazy. Well, or reckless, sadly. Susie says, tragic 3 meteorological students died. Yeah, it's true. They weren't even reckless. As I understand, their car got stuck. Sometimes it's just, you can't know how things are going to happen until they happen, as absolutely tragic as that is. It's sad. Yeah. Is your forecast for June ready? Oh, yeah, absolutely it is. I need to redo these today. Not redo the forecast. The forecast data will stay the same, but I want to change it a little bit around to show things a little differently. Instead of November 27th storm, would be November 27th recycle, as we had talked about, yesterday on Coffee Talk. But there's the June forecast. Scott, hey, good morning, you wackadoo. How are you, buddy? Alex, I love that you take the time to answer questions in real time and don't just pick one person or the same people. You mix it up and give everyone a chance to be mentioned. I try. Look, you're taking your time to spend time with me, and I'm darn appreciative, and I'm going to do my best to always answer questions. It becomes difficult during like peak of hurricane season where there's a billion rapid fire questions, and I'm like, I'm trying here, but I do the best I can, right? Yeah. Kenneth, there's a meteorologist on a competitive local channel who's a former storm chaser. Yeah, maybe. Look, a lot of people have at least chased a little bit in their time. Who is that? Who used to be a former storm chaser? I feel like people storm chase. Like, I've been invited to go storm chasing with several of my friends, several of my meteorological colleagues, storm chase for their television stations. I even have a friend, and I don't know if we've ever talked about this. Maybe I need to get him on Coffee Talk. Brandon Ivy went to school with me, went to meteorological school with me. Dude was working at a 7-Eleven dreaming of being a professional storm chaser. Goes to meteorological school, ends up doing the Discovery Channel show Storm Chasers, I think it was. Now he owns his own business. He's got like a church bus, like a van. People book seats and he sells basically tours 1 week at a time. And they go storm chasing. He's living his dream, man. I will never forget. He's like, yeah, job at 7-Eleven's good, good benefits and all that, but I just want to do weather for a career. And it's like, well, you're doing it right. You're going to meteorological school. And I remember forecasting. When we would have our little study groups, I was always the guy that did the tropical stuff. And when it came to tropical stuff, he was like, teach me, Burris, I don't understand this. And when it comes to tornado stuff, I learned a ton from him. He could read, before he was even in college, dude could read DIFAX charts and skew tees, and he could just look at it, and it was just like an x-ray. He scanned it and got it. That was just his thing. He eats, breathes, and sleeps tornadoes, and I feel like I eat and breathe and sleep tropics, even if I don't love it. The impacts of it, that is. Kenneth, Troy, was he? Troy and I used to live in the same building. He never mentioned that to me. Troy's a good dude. All right. So, friends, at any rate, a couple of storms today. 30% chance of rain west of town. High temperature of about 91. It looks like it would be a little warmer than yesterday, but nothing compared to what is around the corner. 93 Thursday, 94 on Friday. Are we talking about record heat? It's going to be hot. I think we're going to fall just shy of records. I hope we're going to fall just shy of records. I hope. Gross. At any rate, today, record is 98. We better not get anywhere near there. Tomorrow, record is 96. It's possible. And then Friday, the record, 98 again. We better not get there. But we're going to be in the ballpark, okay? All right. Enough. All right. Coming up a little bit later on today on the 3:30 afternoon Coffee Talk, we're going to be chatting more about the building heat. We're going to check in on the heat this afternoon, see where we will be compared to averages and compared to records, and scan some new model data and just see if we're looking better and better over the next couple of days or if we're looking hotter and hotter. Yeah, a lot to chat about. So join us, okay? In the meantime, look at those temperatures on the bottom of the screen. Palm Coast forecast highs 85. Oh, how I wish it was that way in Orlando. Instead, forecast high in Orlando, like Ocala, is 91. Be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see you guys and gals this afternoon at 3:30. Bye, y'all.